Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to the channel, and I am here for a vinyl collection video. Now keep in mind, I'm not really the biggest collector when it comes to vinyl records. I am definitely more of a CD collector. I have way more CD than I do vinyl, of course. CD is just my preferred way of owning music, and maybe that just has to do with, what you're most familiar with and, all that, because I understand that maybe it has to do with how some people grew up or what they're most used to or whatever. Like maybe some people grew up collecting or have been around people who have collected vinyl records, and maybe that's why, it happened with them. And, the thing is with me and vinyl records, it was a thing that, where the passion was there for just a little bit. And then it just kind of worn off of me. The passion isn't there with collecting vinyl records like it used to be. I'm happy with the vinyl that I have, but I don't know. The passion just isn't there anymore. So I'll probably never pick up another vinyl record again, which is why I'm doing a collection video, because, well, I only have a handful of vinyl records. And it's actually been a long time since I've last picked up a vinyl record. I think the last time was like late 2018 or something like that. So yeah, it's been a while. So let's go ahead and begin with this collection. So first up, you guys have probably seen some of these in a recent collection video. First up, we got Metallica, Ride the Lightning. And this is probably my favorite Metallica album. Yeah, definitely a great album and a classic. If you're a metalhead, haven't heard this album yet, please check it out. Definitely a masterpiece of a metal album. Great stuff here. And then we got Metallica, Master of Puppets. And this is probably my second favorite Metallica album. It's of course the last album with Cliff on bass. May he rest in peace. Definitely a classic. If you haven't heard this album yet, definitely check it out. It's definitely a great album. And then we got Metallica's latest album, Hardwired to Self-Destruct. Now, I will admit this album doesn't have the strongest replay value, and it's nowhere near one of their best. I know some people say that this is one of their best. I personally wouldn't agree with that, but I would agree it's probably their best album in quite some time. I mean, it's definitely better than the last few, at least. But yeah, pretty good album. I just don't think it's one of their best. Next up, we got one of the greatest thrash metal albums of all time, and that is, of course, Megadeth, Rust in Peace. This album is fantastic. If you're a metalhead, once again, haven't heard this album yet, please check it out. You will not be disappointed. If you like guitar, you're going to like this album. Yeah, definitely great stuff. Excellent album. And then we got Iron Maiden, the debut album. Now, out of the first couple of albums by Iron Maiden, the Self-Titled and Killers, I definitely prefer the Self-Titled. I know most people prefer Killers. I'm not even sure why that is. But I actually prefer the Self-Titled. I think this album is a lot better than Killers, to be honest. But yeah, definitely a classic and a great album. So the debut album, Iron Maiden. Next up, we got Iron Maiden, Peace of Mind. Definitely a great album and a classic. I mean, there's not much to say about it, but you can't go wrong with this album. Kind of an underrated album. I mean, not severely underrated or anything, but this album got sandwiched in between two of Iron Maiden's biggest albums. I'm of course talking about Number of the Beast and Power Slave. So maybe that's why this album is not getting the same recognition as those albums, but I actually really dig this album. So yeah, Peace of Mind, excellent album. Can't go wrong with it. Next up, we got Iron Maiden, Power Slave, which is of course one of their best. Definitely no going wrong with this album. It's definitely a classic, and I think it's one of Iron Maiden's best, and it's definitely one of my favorite Maiden albums, for sure. Next up, we got Iron Maiden, Somewhere in Time. Another solid album. I mean, this album is just, it's really great. Definitely one of their more, I want to say, experimental albums. They used synthesizers more with this record, and yeah, it's a great album. So Somewhere in Time, Iron Maiden. Next up, we got Black Sabbath, Master of Reality. And this is probably my favorite Black Sabbath album. But yeah, definitely a great album, and definitely a classic. This is definitely a must listen for any metalhead. I mean, given the impact that this album had on the genre, and this band even. Yeah, definitely great stuff here. And lastly for this collection, I know, like I said, I don't have many vinyl records. We got Led Zeppelin 2. This here is a classic and a great album. If you're a rock music fan, haven't heard this album yet, you gotta check it out for sure. It's definitely a great album. Led Zeppelin is, of course, a really great band. So Led Zeppelin 2. Well, there you have it, guys. That is my vinyl record collection. Let me know what you guys think. Like I said, I know it's not very many. I know a lot of you guys out there probably have a lot more than I do in terms of vinyl. But again, I'm not the biggest collector when it comes to vinyl, but either way, let me know what you guys think of this collection. What all records do you have on vinyl? Feel free to let me know your thoughts. So thanks for watching. Have a nice day and take care.